Welcome, sadhkas. Vedic mathematics is to be approached the Vedic mathematics way. The Vedic mathematics way is also fully, lively within the text of Ganita Sutras. Ganita Sutras, from beginning to end, are of values which make it as a mathematics, which also make it the mathematical way, and which also make it the organization of the Vedic mathematics knowledge. Vedic mathematics as a knowledge, Vedic mathematics as an organization, Vedic mathematics as values base of the Vedic knowledge systems is a reservoir to which we have to approach the Vedic way, and the Vedic way is transcendental meditation. One is to follow the values of meditation. Bharati Krishna Tirtha Ji Maharaj, Shri Shripad Babaji Maharaj, and Maharishi Mesh Yogi Ji Maharaj have entered this domain in traditional meditation processing techniques way. One shall sit comfortably, one shall permit one's mind to be parallel with the transcendental meditation techniques to enter the transcendental domains. It is the transcendental content which is manifesting, and it is the transcendence from the manifested creations which is inherently inbuilt in this manifestation process. As such, be parallel with the organization of the text of Ganita Sutras, and this organization in itself will of its own unfold Vedic mathematics domain, Vedic mathematics values, Vedic mathematics techniques. Let us begin with the number of letters settled for each Ganita Sutra and Ganita Upsutra. Today, we are taking up the text of Ganita Sutras. There are 16 sutras and 13 upsutras. Let me be specific. Ganita Sutras text is manifested domain of Vedic mathematics itself. Each and every organization feature of the text of Ganita Sutras and Upsutras is a Vedic mathematics value. Today, we are trying to glimpse the Sthapatya of the settlement of number of letters of individual Ganita Sutras in sequential arrangement from first sutra to the last 16th sutra. This is a creation of creators of space. The very first sutra is an organization of 16 letters parallel with the dimensional frame of quadruple spatial dimensions of value 16. Let us sit comfortably. Let us proceed. Let us begin with Sutra 1. Let us begin with the text of Sutra 1. The text of Sutra 1 is a scripture of 16 letters. Dimensional frame of creator's space is a setup of quadruple spatial dimensions, making it of value 2 raised to power 4. Sit comfortably. Permit the mind to be parallel with this feature. Be face to face with the dimensional frame of the creator's space. 4 space is a creator's space. 2 space plays the role of dimension of 4 space. There are 4 dimensions of 4 space. The dimensional frame of creator's space is a setup of quadruple spatial dimensions. These together make value 2 raised to power 4. Once we will be parallel with this initiation, then we will be going to be of a mental state of further processing within creator's space in terms of its dimensional frame. One shall sit comfortably and be parallel with the organization of the creator's space as per its dimensional frame of quadruple spatial dimensions. Once we are face to face with the organization of creator's space standing integrated in terms of its dimensional frame, then we will be blissfully parallel with each spatial dimension accepting organization as 4x4 grid whose frame, as is outlined on the computer screen, will take us to 7 steps. One shall sit comfortably and be face to face with the organization features of 4x4 grid. There are quadruple spatial dimensions. So there will be quadruple 4x4 grids. So there will be quadruple frames of values range 1 to 7. This will help us appreciate the settlement of the letters of the text of Ganita Sutra 2 as a composition of 28 letters. Sit comfortably. Be parallel with these features. These organization features, beginning with the dimensional frame of 4 space, are taking to the grid organization within each spatial dimension of the creator's space. Once we are within creator's space with grid organization for each of its spatial dimensions, then we will be blissfully parallel with the origin. Each dimensional frame stands and remains integrated because of the seal at the origin. 5 space is the origin of a 4 space. 5 space is of a solid order. Therefore, the 5 space in the role of origin is of a dimensional frame of 5 solid dimensions. Let us have a pause. Let us sit comfortably. We have been initiating ourselves in terms of quadruple spatial dimensions of 4 space. then we have reached the origin. It is a transcendental origin. It is a solid order origin, and it is of a dimensional frame of value 3 cross 5, 15. Blissfully, we have begun with 4 space of quadruple spatial dimensions, and we have sequentially reached at its origin as of value 15. Ganita Sutra 3, Udharvtiriyabhyam, is a scripture. It is a text composition of 15 letters, and this text stands settled as of 15 letters, parallel with the value of the solid dimensional frame of the transcendental origin of the creator's space. Blissful. Let us, in this background, proceed ahead. We are within creator's space. We have reached the origin of the creator's space. The origin of the creator's space is transcendental. It is 5 space which is playing the role of origin of 4 space. Now, 4 space is a spatial order space. As such, the solid domain, solid dimensional domain, the transcendental domain, the 5 space domain splits into a pair of domains. The transcendental domain splits into 2 parts. The transcendental domain splits into northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. This split of the transcendental domain at seat of origin as northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere is at the base of the settlement of the text of Ganita Sutra 4, Pravartya Yojit, transpose and unite. It is this feature to transpose and unite is in the context of the split of the transcendental domain as a northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, and so the transposition of the northern hemisphere to be unified with southern hemisphere and other way around as well, which will happen at Ganita Sutra 14. The 5 space is hypercube of 5 as domain within creative boundary of 10 components. Therefore, it will take 10 more steps to have the unification after the transposition. Let us have a pause here. We have reached a stage where the transcendental domain as such has split into northern hemisphere of value 17 and the southern hemisphere of value 19. Hypercube of 5 is a 4-fold manifestation of values 3, 4, 5, 6 of summation value 18. Therefore, the split at the origin as northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere is still having integrating feature because of the origin itself being a compactified, as there is origin of an origin. So 6 space as an origin will be playing a role of having integration for the northern and southern hemispheres, to which we will be coming. But here itself, it will be blissful to take note that the hypercube 5 is a 4-fold manifestation, 3, 4, 5, 6, with 6 space playing the role of an origin. It is here itself, it will be relevant to take note that 2 plus 3 is 5 and 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. These are the features which are coming into play in there being a split, and simultaneously there is an inherent integrated link, seal at the origin itself. 5 space as origin, as 5 space, despite a split, is remaining integrated as there is 6 space which is playing the role of the origin, and origins are compactified at the same origin seat. One shall sit comfortably and to permit the transcending mind to be parallel with this happening within creator's space at transcendental origin seat. With it, we will proceed a step ahead and see this split of the transcendental domain at the seat of origin as northern hemisphere of value 17 and as southern hemisphere of value 19 with the value 18 as summation value of 443456 is happening within creator's space. Creator's space is a spatial order space. The southern hemisphere and northern hemisphere with the difference value 2 are as 17 as a dimension and 19 as a domain. Likewise, along the second axis of the creator space, the happening is that 18 as a dimension and 20 as a domain. As such, we are having Sutra 5 and Sutra 6 of letters 20 and letters 19 respectively. Let us sit comfortably. Let us permit our mind to be parallel with this organization feature, and that too in a sequential arrangement of Sutra 5 of letters 20 and Sutra 6 of letters 19. One shall further have a pause here and take note that Sutra 5 is Shunyam Samme Samuche, while Sutra 6 is Anurupe, symmetrically, Shunyam Anyat. The formulation Shunye is of transcendental code value 18. Let us sit comfortably. Let us permit our mind to be parallel with the transcendental domain in the role of an origin with its split is in a Shunya state, a zero state, as the content value 18 as dimension has manifested itself as 20 as a domain. It is really very, very blissful transcendental phenomenon happening within creator's space. One shall sit comfortably and be parallel with this transcendental happening within creator's space. Let us have a pause. 4 space is having 5 space as its origin, and 5 space is having 6 space as its origin, and 6 space is of a creative dimensional order. That is, 4 space is playing the role of a dimension of a 6 space. So, with the split of the transcendental domain, the transcendental content going parallel with value 0 as the manifestation of a Shunne, as formulation Shunne of transcendental code value 18 brings us face to face with 6 space origin of 5 space, playing a lively role for each domain despite split remaining integrated. 6 space with 4 space as dimension is a setup of a dimensional frame of 6 multiplied by 4 is equal to 24. Blissful, very blissful. Sanklan Vyakalnabhyam. There is going to be an accumulation and simultaneously dissolution. It is summation and subtraction. This feature is at the base of transcendental value of our solar universe, where full basket of life values are flowing out of 6 space domain from orb of the sun, and still the basket of the sun, the Surya, remains full. It is here where it will be blissful for us to glimpse ahead, as that the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere both being full transcendental domains within creator's space. The creator's space with transcendental origin as of potentialities to split the creator's space into a pair of creator's spaces, and as a result, each of this pair of creator's spaces with dimensional frames of value 16 each result into the settlement of the texts of Ganita Sutras 8 and 9 being of 16 letters each. Let us sit comfortably and be face to face with this transcendental phenomenon of transcendental origin playing its role to split creator's space into a pair of creator's space, and it itself transcending out of it as Shunne, and as a result, the transcendented situation of transcending out will make value 9 parallel with the sequential manifestation of the transcendental frame of the transcendental domain, beginning with 1 space as dimension, manifesting as 3 space domain, and 3 space as dimension, manifesting as 5 space as a domain. This 2-phased manifestation process is there because of the spatial order of the creator's space. One shall sit comfortably and to permit the mind to be parallel with this transcendental happening within creator's space. One shall be sequentially parallel with this happening, as this is happening within a creator's space, which itself manifests as hypercube 4 with domain boundary ratio a raised to power 4:8, b raised to power 3, making it to be of 9 versions as a representative regular bodies of 9 representative regular body of 9 geometries of 4 space. On the one hand, the happening is in reference to the solid boundary of the creator's space, and on the other hand, simultaneously there is an happening in the role of 3 space as dimension of a 5 space. Solid boundary and solid dimension are two distinct streams simultaneously happening within creator's space because of the transcendence of the transcendental origin from the creator's space. Let us sit comfortably. Let us permit our mind to be parallel with it. And it is this which will take us to the potentialities of the creator's space itself, manifesting as hypercube 4 of 4 folds 2, 3, 4, 5 of summation value 14. And with it stands settled the text of Ganita Sutra 11 as of 14 letters, Vyasti, Samishti, part as a whole as a part. This happening within creator's space is phase and stage which deserves to be comprehended well. Let us have a pause. We have begun with the dimensional frame of a 4 space, and we have reached at domain of a 4 space. 4 space is having a dimensional frame of value 16. 4 space is having a domain of value 14. Blissful. 14 is the domain and 16 is the value of the dimensional frame. Now 16 and 14 are formatted as such that 14 as a dimension will lead to 16 as a domain. See the reversal of the orientations happening within creator's space. And this is there as 4 space is a spatial order space. It is the spatial dimension which is making all these wonders. One shall sit comfortably and be sequentially parallel with this organization sequence of settlement of letters of the text of Ganita Sutras. Step ahead. Once we have reached a phase and stage from dimensional frame to domain of 4 space to the split of 4 space domain as a pair of 4 space domains because of the transcendence of the transcendental origin, then both creators' domains will have their split phenomenon, a parallel split phenomenon happening within both creative domains will be blissfully taking us to settlement of texts of Sutras 12 and 13 as well of letters 20 each. it is really a very, very blissful comprehension. It is really a very, very blissful reach of Vedic mathematics. This all is happening within creators of space, and this happening of creators of space in duplication of its own existence. And this is all what needs to be imbibed well. One shall sit comfortably and to permit the transcending mind to be parallel with this happening within creators of space because of the spatial order. Even the transcendental domain in the role of origin of force space splitting and split of the transcendental domain, despite split remaining integrated because of the self-referral 6 space origin of a 5 space. This will blissfully take us to the phase and stage where the Ganita Sutra 4 text of 17 letters and Ganita Sutra 14 as well being the text of 17 letters is as is the depiction on the computer screen is there because of reversal of orientations standing superimposed and also remaining distinct flow streams. So the split within first creative domain for the northern hemisphere value 17 and also the parallel similar split in another creative domain for the northern hemisphere of value 17 is responsible for this wonderful settlement of the text letters of Ganita Sutra 14 as 17. Let us have a pause. Eka Adhikain Purvain Ganita Sutra 1, a scripture of 16 letters, and Eka Nunain Purvain, scripture of 17 letters. Now, 16 plus 1 is 17, and 70 minus 1 is 16. Let us sit comfortably and to permit the transcending mind to glimpse and imbibe this organization. And with it, we will be reaching the finished final phase and stage where in both creative domains, within creative domain, because of the transcendental origin, taking to the origin of origin in both domains and the split for the origin transcendence from the 5 space domain itself as of value 5 plus 6 plus 5, 16 for both creative domains within creative domain because of the transcendence of phenomenon at the seat of the origin is the finished phase and stage of settlement of the letters of Ganita Sutra 15 and 16 respectively. Sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with Vedic knowledge, Vedic systems, Vedic mathematics shall visit this settlement of number of letters of Ganita Sutras 1 to 16 in their sequential order. One shall permit the transcending mind to continuously remain in prolonged sittings of trance. One shall glimpse and imbibe these features and values. Let one be fully parallel with these features of Vedic mathematics. Thank you very much.